Is the Earth flat?
So, I mean, sure. Why not?
Sure. Yes.
Why not?
Okay. Prove
Why
it.
not? Why
Demonstrate
couldn't
it.
it be?
Show me your
Why
evidence
couldn't
that
it
the
be?
Earth's flat. What do you mean, why couldn't it be? Because it's not, dumbass. It's not. The Earth's round.
Oh,
All of our evidence demonstrates that the Earth is round. Alrighty, how you doing tonight, Peter?
Very well. Very well.
Good.
I'm doing very well. How about
Good
yourself?
to hear. I'm doing just fine, thank you. I had a productive day today. Was just telling everybody, got some shopping done. Gonna try to get back into shape for the summer, all that good stuff. So can't complain.
Very good.
So I guess I should start since I'm the one who invited you here. My name is Alec. Once again, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. The reason that I'm pulling you on today is because I went over a video of yours a couple of days ago, and you were on with Mr. Oh, what was his name? I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Matt Kim?
Yes, Matt Kim. That's the one. Thank you. And you guys were talking about immigration. And I thought that you had some interesting takes on it, and I just kind of wanted to delve into some of those. I was doing a little bit of research on you, and do you mind if I stream to the Discord so that you can see what I'm seeing?
That's fine. Do whatever you need to do, brother. I'm here to help out.
Okay. Actually, I probably shouldn't need to. I guess I saw this video. It's about 13 minutes long that you posted on Twitter. It says, I was almost killed by an undocumented person. Is forced integration of different species a good idea for Americans? Just to get this out of the way, was species a typo, or was that like?
No, species I think is an important distinction to make. I think race is something that has been politicized, and race has been something that has been completely diluted in what its original intent was. But in many cases, race is so deeply inclined with culture, and culture is in many cases an ephemeral consideration. And so I think if we get down to the nitty gritty, from my understanding and research, is that we humans are hybrids and lots of interbreeding thousands and thousands of years ago. And some species of humans, like Neanderthals, and some species like Homo erectus and Homo habilis, etc., were of the more intelligent species.
Yeah,
and so
yeah, but we're not like Neanderthals anymore. We're all Homo sapiens. So
well,
I just find that I don't think that it's a good idea to start using the word species for like what's supposed to be different races of people, different cultural groups.
well, I found that to be a weak argument, though, in that we have, and you remember this from biology class, is that we have multiple species of different types of animals, whether it's a lion or whether it's a cat or a lizard or a dolphin, or I mean, you could go on and on and on, but
Right,
yet
but
we
we're
are
all
psyoped
humans.
into this idea. Yeah, we're psyoped into this idea that we only have one human species. I find that to be a very flimsy argument, that every other animal on the planet, right? Remember your biology, right? Kingdom, phylum, genus, species. You go down every animal on the planet has different species, but when it comes to humans, we only have one. I think that's a
Every
poor
animal
argument.
has different species. Can you give me an example?
So let's say you have a lion and a tiger, right?
Yeah.
These are different species of animals. Can these different species of animals interbreed? Yes, they have, and it's called a liger.
Oh yeah, the lion and the tiger. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, lion and tiger. So lion and
Yes.
tiger,
But
different species, but same family group.
But it is worth pointing out that liger cannot interbreed, like it's sterile. So, and that's not the only. That's not the only qualifier. Like being able to interbreed is not the only qualifier for what makes something an individual species. Like for instance, dolphins and whales, despite being from different, let's see, I can't remember the name of it, but they're even more distinct than lions and tigers are, and yet they can interbreed and have babies. And those babies can actually go on to reproduce themselves, but that doesn't make a dolphin the same species as a whale.
It doesn't, and so that's why completely different species like a dolphin and a whale cannot interbreed, because of the lack of common genetic DNA that can connect and actually create something novel and new. Right? We can have emergence from it, and so the point I'm trying to make is that
Mhm.
there are different species of animals, and different species have different traits and different natural inclinations, natural abilities.
Well, even
And
within species, you have different traits and natural abilities.
absolutely. And so I think it would not be irregular for someone to say, "Hey, there are different species of humans," and I think we can recognize that for what it is. If we
But
were to create, let's say we
what's the
create a simple marker. A simple marker would be like intelligence or IQ. I think there is clearly biological evidence, historical evidence, and obviously cultural and racial evidence that shows that there are different species of humans that live in different continents of the world who have variable and very deep from from a standard deviation of one, very
the
deep
IQ,
differentials of IQ and intelligence. And
the
so
IQ
it
test
to
is it varies widely from culture to culture. Like it was primarily written by European cultures, and so when it's taken by people who are not, it's Eurocentric. So when it's taken by people who are not European,
I've heard that argument before.
yeah,
That's fair, and we can take a wide swath to it. So let's just say there's a wide berth to IQ testing, and there's a wide berth to IQ output from across a multiplicity of cultures across the world. Fair enough. Like we could take a wide angle lens on that. Regardless of that, the evidence is what the evidence is that certain species of humans do not produce what other species of humans do. The output can be
what do you mean
can be
produce?
referential evidence of, hey, maybe this IQ standardized test has a wide berth and has a wide, has a wide door to it. Fine, fair enough. But what inventions, what amazing technological innovation has come out of this particular species group or this particular country or this particular demographic
I mean,
versus this species group
the
versus this
vast
species group?
majority the vast majority of people from any culture are not like these wildly talented innovators. And typically the people who are innovating are going to be from cultures who have more money, who have more resources, who have more power in the world. Like those are
Sure,
the ones that you'll get, the
sure.
people who have the time, the energy, and the resources to innovate in the first place. So we actually
Oh,
see intelligence, like IQ, is linked better to your socioeconomic status worldwide than it is to anything else.
I disagree, sir, because
Well,
because
you
the
can disagree,
foundation.
but that's just a fact.
Well, let me explain.
Okay.
You're asserting the leveraging of current existing systems, technology, tools, and in system and product enablement. If you remove all of that and start different species all out at base zero, you have loincloth, you have a fork, a spoon, and you might have an axe. Like start every species there. Certain species of human are more industrious, more productive, and will naturally move towards certain type of industries versus other species groups. This is so for you to say, hey, intelligence and productivity and efficiency and effectiveness is based off of resourcefulness. Well, let's remove the resourcefulness. So here's the biggest evidence of that. You have a country called Orania. You can look it up. So it's a country of Orania. It's in South Africa. It's a bunch of Afrikaners or Anglo-Saxon white people that lived in South Africa. You understand the historical significance of apartheid and all of that, and the backlashing of that against the Afrikaners. And
Yeah.
so the Afrikaners, the white people said, you know what, fine, fine, we're good. Like, we don't want suffering, we don't want pain, we don't want prejudice, we don't want anything. We're gonna move out. And so thousands of these Afrikaners moved out, and they created their
And
own
took their
country.
resources with them.
As they should. As you should.
But
If you're
they
moving
stole the
from your
resources
house
in the first place. They stole the resources in the first place. They came
for
in,
for for,
they
for,
took up
for
resources from the indigenous land, and then they took those out with them.
but you're gonna blame you're convoluting two things here. You're saying
Don't
that
think so.
based on history, that these ancestors, who some of them lived them for hundreds of years, so multiple generations, right? So you can't blame fourth generation for resource exploitation of 150 years ago. That's just not a fair argument. I mean, just like you can't be blamed for your grandfather's slavery, just like I can't be blamed if I had my grandfather who fought against Japanese in the Korean War. Like that argument's a moot point. So we leave them blameless for what their ancestors done. They lived in a time in which they, maybe fair enough, inherited the resources. They made good with those resources. They expanded those resources. The surrounding periphery said, we don't like it. You Afrikaners, get out of here. They said, well,
they also abused the indigenous population.
Sure, there's always going to be abuses. However, when you continue to interject, when you continue to interject these statistical anomalies in many cases, then you can make a case for anything. I think we're missing the point. Let's get back to the point. The point is, I believe, which you disagree with, which is why I'm totally okay with having these conversations. Like, it's okay to disagree. You and I disagree on a very fundamental
you're calling
thing.
different groups of humans different species. I find that concerning.
You're offended. You're offended by that, but I'm not offended by that.
This isn't me being offended. This is me saying, what is the purpose of this? Like, what do we do with this information? Do we start segregating people again?
People naturally segregate, sir. Right?
So
we naturally segregate
you
anyway.
Think that people should be segregated.
So we should
Should we go back to pre-civil rights era?
Pre-civil rights era is a loaded idea. We naturally
loaded idea. How?
Let's get down to the fundamentals. Neither do you, right? So
I didn't live there, but I've studied it a little bit. Oh, I'm not an expert, but
I'm not an expert either. So you and I are probably on the same base level. Let's not move and dance around the point.
But I'm not dancing around the point. You're saying that we have different species of humans within the human race, I guess. So then what do we take from this? Like, should we go, like, you're saying that people naturally segregate, and apparently things are better off with segregation, but I just don't agree. I think that segregation was actually horrible. It turned out very badly for a lot of people.
Wow.
It leads to racial supremacy. It leads to the exploitation of groups of people.
No, it doesn't at all.
Yes, it does.
You can't say that.
Yeah, it does.
You can't say that.
You want ethno-states, it sounds like.
There are more ethno-states that in existence today than diverse states.
I'm not saying there aren't ethno-states. I'm saying that ethno-states in general, just statistically speaking, don't perform as like, even if you're taking the humanity completely out of it, which I think is stupid.
What are you talking about, brother? Like, I've lived in 5 different countries. I've lived in Korea. I was born in Korea. I lived in Korea. I lived in Japan for 3.5 years. I lived in Europe. I lived in India for 9 months. I lived all over America. I lived in New Jersey. I lived in Florida. I lived in Pennsylvania. Bro, I lived in Santa Barbara, California. Like,
that's great, but none of that is statistics or data.
Don't misunderstand my point. Japan is, you could consider Japan an ethno-state. They've done damn well. You could consider Korea an ethno-state. They've done fine. China, ethnocentrically Chinese, not Hispanic, not Korean, not Anglo-Saxon. I could go down the line. India, mostly Indian.
What's
right?
the richest and most economic country on Earth?
The most economically free?
Yeah, no. The richest and most economically prosperous country on Earth. Which one is it?
Oh, it has to be China, easily.
It's not the United States. By GDP, it is the United States.
Bro, you're measuring the wrong measure. We are taxed. We have
the greatest military. We have.
No. You're looking at the wrong data, sir. Let me finish. We are taxed more than any other country on the planet, sir. I got back from Dubai. Okay, so there's a reason why.
Okay.
Let me use this example. This Dubai, that is you could call that an ethno-state. You could call that almost a prison planet. You could almost say that the divide between rich and poor is so oppressive that it's almost inhumane. However, let me finish. On the other side of that token, there's a reason why investors like myself will go to Dubai, because the money and the legalities and the ability to have money flow and investment is quite grand. Now let me finish.
At the expense of the underclass.
Let me finish. I'm not celebrating any of this. I'm just telling you facts. I sat down with a very wealthy individual, and he took me to task. He said, Peter, we have more economic freedom actually here than in America. And I said, sir, I've
If
lived
you're
in
rich, I
America
believe
for.
it.
I know, right? I can create all the logical and rational reasons as to why he's overly privileged, and it's easy for him to say that. But at the same time, he's not wrong. When he started going down the list of regulations, the list of taxes that I know to be true as an entrepreneur, a business builder myself in the state of Georgia, and he said, "You're taxed on this. You're constrained by this. You can't do this. You have to
As
get
a
a permit
business
to fish.
owner,
You got to get a
I'm not
permit to
talking about
fish.
I'm not talking about business owners. I'm talking about regular ass people, people
That's
who
what I'm
work a
saying. You
9
got
to
to get a
5.
permit to fish. You got to get a permit to own a gun. You got to get a permit to do this. You got a permit to make your own farm. You got to have a permit to make your own fish pond." Like he said, you guys are so regulated in America that you don't realize that you've given up your freedom so slowly over the last 40 years. And brother, he's not wrong. We are the most oppressed people group from a taxation, from a lack of ability for free movement. You can move freer in the European countries than you can in many cases from here
Well,
to Mexico or here to Canada, right? I mean, like
speaking of
so
free movement,
for both of you, for me to sit where I am in my garage, and for you to sit where you are in your nice house and your nice room there, it's easy for us to sit here in privilege and be able to poke fun at our at these ideas of species and all of that. But the reality is that we are not the most free country. We might have a huge military because 80% of our spend goes there. Great, but that doesn't
but what
show
does
that
this
you're.
have to do
It doesn't show that you're
with being an
strong.
ethno state? Like, why
You
would I want to like? You can have good stuff without an ethno state, and in my
But you can have great stuff with one. And I'm
but
telling
why?
you
But
that
why
these
would you
ethno
want
states
one?
work. These ethno states work. That's what I'm
Maybe
saying. They work
like
all over the planet.
maybe for the superior race there, but for the underclass that it
You're not going to
doesn't. Like
change
they're
China. You're not going to change China. You're not going to change Japan. You're not
I
going to
think
change
anything can
Singapore.
change slowly over time. Maybe not by myself, maybe not tomorrow, but surely over time, if you have the right policies, push for the right people to be in
Yeah,
power, you
and
can change these
we're doing
things.
that. We're doing that at speed in America. We're importing 10,000 people a day, man. Like we're
Let's
doing the
talk about that
experiment.
because you don't seem to really be in favor of the high levels of immigration that we're seeing. Is that correct?
No, not at
Why
all.
not?
Not at all.
Why not?
We're not importing the best and brightest people on the
Well,
planet into
but
America.
it doesn't have to be the best and brightest necessarily. We just import people who give more than they take. Yes, like even illegal
Did you
immigrants,
just
even
did
undocumented
you just
immigrants.
you did you just say that the 10,000 people that we're importing give to America more than they take?
Yes, I can give you an
That
example.
cannot be an
So I
economically true statement. That
It
cannot be an
is. So
economically true
I live
statement.
in Ohio.
So
It's just basic math. I live in Ohio, and we have a Haitian immigrant population that you might have heard of. They were on the national
yeah,
stage for a while, and the reason that Haitians were brought in, Haitian migrants, is because the city of Springfield was going under. They did not have a very good economic base of operation, and so Haitian immigrants came in and they filled that need, and they did a damn good job. Springfield is much better off for it. So
did you have a say in what people group were imported into your fine city?
via my elected representatives, yeah, in a way. Like it's
Eh,
their
Would
job to make the city thrive.
would you say that this was the best people group out of all people group that you could have chosen to
It's
import?
really not my decision to make anyway.
Okay,
It's about
well then you're arguing with me about something that you're exporting responsibility for. So the argument
I'm not
we no
exporting
longer need to talk
responsibility. I'm
about it.
just telling you the facts. Do you recognize or not that I mean we can look into it right now if you want that Springfield is better off with a Haitian immigrant population
There is no
economically
way that's
otherwise.
true. There's
No way
no way
that's
that's
okay.
true.
Okay, well, let's
There's
pull
no way
something
that's
up
true.
then.
You're not adding up the total costs of all the social workers, of all the transporters, of all the resource workers, of all the individuals that are required on salary to be able to process these individuals, to be able to put them through the system, and be able to give them the benefits that you and I so hard, as citizens here, work for. Now, in I am completely in support of legal immigration because that's how I came into America legally with paperwork, with a right to work,
I mean, these Haitian migrants are here
with a
legally
purpose.
too.
Not all of them. You could so let's not could you say that the majority of people that have been imported to America over the last, let's say, 4, 8, 12 years, the majority of them are legal or illegal?
I
Meaning
don't know.
paperwork, due process.
Probably illegal because it's so damn hard to get
Okay,
in here.
so then it's illegal. Now,
Why are
we
there
don't
so
need to
many
argue
people trying to come here illegally? Why do you think? If it were that easy to do it legally, why not do it legally?
because we need good due process to ensure that we're allowing in great people who are add value to our country. I think that is a right thing to do. I think it's important
You
to make
understand that,
good
like,
diligence.
most of our
For
farms and menial labor are like a vast chunk of them. I don't have the exact number, but a huge chunk is operated by undocumented immigrants, right? Like they're providing a ton of value to our economy. And if we were to just get rid of them, that would tank us. It would tank us.
would it?
Yes. They're doing all
How
the
do you, how,
farm labor for
how do
way
you
less
know?
than they're worth, by the way. They're still paying taxes while they're here, while not being represented. That's taxation without representation. They're doing that anyway
I don't know
because
what
they
your
want
argument is.
opportunity here.
What's
My
the
argument here
argument?
is immigrants have helped us, and we should bring more of them, not less.
Just because we've created a system that is dysfunctional and somehow hobbles along
How's it
doesn't
dysfunctional?
mean that is the ideal system to continue working at.
You're right.
We need to
They should all be
improve
granted legal
our system,
status.
and
You're
we need
right.
to improve everything that you've talked about.
You're
I
right. They
think we
should
can
all
both
be granted.
agree on that, but that doesn't mean that because we had all of this illegal malfeasance that happened and poor due process happened, that we need to keep it going, is what you're saying. I would disagree with
Yes.
that.
No, I think you're right in a way where it's like, yeah, the system does kind of suck. We have a bunch of people who are not
It
here
does suck. We
legally.
can both agree on
Let
that
me
for
finish.
sure.
Because we have a bunch of people who are not here legally. They get paid way less than they're worth for the work that they
Which
do.
is
They
terrible
work
for
way longer
everybody.
hours. Yes, I agree. So make them legal. Grant them citizenship.
I think you and I found an agreement. The current ones that we have, make them legal, make them be a full part of the system so they can pay into it and do their work well. Yes, 100%. I
Okay.
think where we may disagree on it is let's stop the bleeding. Let's stop the bleeding, right? This is, if you get a cut and it's bleeding profusely, you probably don't want to put a Band-Aid on it. You probably don't want to put sutures. You might need to
What's
just amputate the entire thing.
What's the bleeding in this scenario?
We are continuing to import reports from 3 to 10,000 people a
But
day
we
are
just
still
went over
coming across.
this. They're doing us favors. They're literally
No,
providing us labor and paying taxes without representation.
that's where we disagree. Where we disagree
What do you mean?
is that you believe that we need all of these people to continue to survive as America, is your argument. Am I
I just
reading
think
that
that
correctly?
well, the people who are here, yes, we do. Okay.
Okay, then can we
And I
stop
think
the
that
bleeding?
people,
Because
I think that people,
we don't know who's
but
coming
why
into the
stop
country.
people from coming over here?
Because we don't know who's coming into the country. You don't
Okay.
want people
I
that you
agree.
don't
No,
know.
I agree with checks at the border. I agree with that.
Okay,
I'm in favor of
so
that.
we agree. So we should stop the bleeding until we figure out, which we both agree on, that the process sucks. So let's make a better process so we can figure out who they are. We can figure out that they're great people, that they have great intentions. They want to create a family. They want to pay into this system. They want to make America great because that's what. Like, let's do that. I think we could probably do that in a period of. I don't know anything about this stuff, but I think you could probably interview them in a period of 3 days. Over a period of 3 days, and say, hey, look, let's talk about this. Let's understand this, and then we can put you through the process. But right now, we're shoving them over the wall. We don't know who most of them are, and that bothers me. As if I just use it from a home example, I mean, you probably want to know who's coming into your house before they come into your house. Kind of like me, I probably want to know who you are before you step in my house. So I'm just pro America first, and I think we're
I
bleeding
am.
at the border. I think we need to stop the bleeding and figure it out, and then we can process more people. Like, let's do that. Like I told you, we both agree with legal immigration, so let's make the legal really good and stop the bleeding in the meantime, because we're not helping ourselves bleeding while trying to also figure out the solution.
So are you telling me, I just want to make sure I'm clear, that you don't want to ship out all of the undocumented immigrants? Like you'd
I
rather
never
just
said that. That never came out of my
make
mouth.
them legal. Okay, I'm just making sure. It
But
sounded when I was going
I
over your
was
video, it
I
just
was hit by
sounded
one.
like
I was
Right.
hit by one.
Well, I
Yeah,
actually had a question about that. How did you know that that was an illegal immigrant?
because the police officer arrested them. They had no documentation. They had no ID. They
Do
had
you
no
carry documentation?
insurance. Of course, I do.
I don't carry
I
documentation of my
I, ca-
citizenship status. I carry a
I
driver's
carry my
license, but
I
that's
have
it.
my driver's license. I have my insurance card in my car.
Right. Could he
Uh,
not have left his driver's license and insurance at home somewhere?
well, the reality is he was hurt.
Okay, but I just want to know how you
I won't
knew,
spill more than
how
that.
you
But
knew that he was undocumented. Because for all I know, he just left his license at home. Is that not possible?
no, because when
Okay.
he pulled, because you saw the video, right? I showed the video.
Yes.
He pulled over on the side because his car could not run. He had a shoulder injury. When I drove over there, barely in my T-boned car, we got out, took pictures, all the normal. He wouldn't get out of his car. I didn't know what was going on. I go up to him. I say, "Hey, sir, can I get your information?" He didn't speak any English. I was like, "Hey, I need ID," all the normal stuff. Right? He's like, he's
Okay.
uncommunicative, right? Not going
So
to
so
talk to me. I
you're
said, well, the police are, I said, I'm going to call the police because clearly there's damage. You look, hurt. He's like, I don't speak. And it's like, okay, great. So police come, they bring their translator. I'm sitting there now with a busted car with my 2 kids and wife, by the way, in that car that was destroyed. And they tell me, no documentation. We searched the car. This is not even his car. We don't know where it is. He's most likely an illegal immigrant with, at that particular point in
most
time,
likely. So
speaking,
you don't know for sure, right?
let's just say, no speak English, no documentation,
That's
no license.
stereotyping.
Hold on, let's, no, no,
There
no,
are plenty of Americans who don't speak English. You're not
let
required to
me,
speak
you
English to
keep
be an
cut me
American
off when I'm trying
citizen.
to finish the argument, and then you can argue back. No speak English, no documentation, no license, no registration, no insurance. Brand new Mercedes GLA 235. Okay, these
What
six
does the brand new
Wait, hold on, hold on.
Mercedes?
These
What does the
six
brand new
coincidences.
Mercedes have to do with it?
I think it's an interesting coincidence that an
Okay.
individual with lacking documentation at 5 points would have a brand new Mercedes blowing through a clearly a red light at that time, right? I accelerated so slow out of that thing. I gave at least 3 seconds, right? And I get slammed into these 5 coincidences. Fair enough. These 5 coincidences, plus that Mercedes, brother, I think we have a pretty strong case that that individual has a reason that they don't have documentation and they don't have registration and they don't have all this information that normal humans would at least have 1 out of the 5. If you can give me that, right? Do you have a cell phone? Do you have a homie? Do you have a friend that we can call? Do you have a mother? Do you have a sister? Do you have a brother? Like, none of this was given. So you were talking about someone which is why, notice on my title, I said undocumented human. I don't know who this person is. But we do know for a fact, zero information. So that's why I said undocumented human. That's why I didn't say, why we're not arguing about the word illegal, because I didn't use the word illegal.
Okay.
They're undocumented human. And they crashed into me and almost killed me and my family. So I
Okay,
think
and
that
that certainly
undocumented
does
human
happen.
I think
You
that
know,
undocumented human should probably leave the country is what was my assertion there, or spend time in jail. My frustration with the legal system is that they would not spend time in jail, and they would most likely be released because that city doesn't have great laws around what they need to do with undocumented humans. So they're supposed to turn them over to some other authority or something like this. And so this is just shows the broken nature of what happens whether you're truly an American citizen undocumented or maybe not and undocumented. You still have to go through a crappy system.
I'm not necessarily against sending criminals back to where they came from if they are undocumented immigrants and commit crimes here. I'm not against that. My thing is, let's say that, I mean, you've provided a substantial amount of evidence for what happened. So
Five coincidences
let's
is
just,
pretty strong.
okay, let's go with the assumption that the person who hit you is, in fact, an undocumented immigrant. I'm willing to run with that. Are you aware of the fact that undocumented immigrants commit crimes at way lower rates than either documented immigrants or natural born citizens?
That this bro, you're preaching to me data at a funeral. I was a victim with video evidence
Okay, I
of
understand that.
getting
I get that.
smashed, and
But
you're telling me my
my
experience
thing
isn't
is,
valid? You're telling me
no, I
my
didn't say
experience
that.
isn't
I
valid?
didn't say. Calm down. I
Because
didn't
you're
say
coming
that.
after me with data. Like, bro,
Listen. I
it
don't
doesn't
want you to
matter.
get.
I don't
Listen.
care what the data is. I got
Listen.
T-boned and almost killed by a
I
person.
I hear you. Okay. I understand that was an experience for you, and I want to acknowledge that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My
That's brutal,
point
man.
is that is not a representation of the broader data that we have.
Which
So
I
when you go
and
on to your audience and you say, well, look, I got hit by an undocumented immigrant. Also, I'm going to add in that my sister almost got jumped by undocumented immigrants and this thing happened and that. It starts to sound like you're building a narrative of let's ship out the undocumented immigrants because they're all criminals. That's what it starts to sound like. When that's not the case, they commit crimes at lower rates than the general population.
if that's how you interpreted it, I'm just a storyteller. I'm just telling about a story that where I
Okay,
got hit
I just want to make sure that that
and that
story is told in context.
I
I mean, I've been,
if you if
I
you watch the
rear-ended
entire thing,
somebody.
that
I was a stupid college kid, and I rear-ended somebody when I was in college because I was on my freaking phone. Should I be deported?
no, because you're American.
Okay, right.
No, you should
So,
probably pay the fine and pay the insurance, which is the right thing to do.
right, and I did.
Right, but we have laws here, and the laws state that if you're undocumented and you commit a crime, you should probably go back to your country. I think that's pretty
Again, I'm not
clear.
disagreeing with
So
that, but what I'm saying is,
that's my experience.
when I watched,
I'm not telling people to look at I'm not telling people to look at other people and say, "Hey, you need to go back to your own country." And that never came out of my mouth. I'm saying that
okay,
if you are a victim of a crime, which is what I experienced, then the two things, right? If you're a victim of a crime by an undocumented human, you use the word illegal. I never use that word. Undocumented human, then that undocumented human should probably go back to their country, is what I'm saying. And that's all all I said. Now, we cannot determine whether someone's undocumented or not based on visuals, right? No, I can
right.
never assume that anyone's undocumented. I frankly have never done that. It's never crossed my mind. The only
We
time
just
that
call
we
them
find
different
out,
species, right?
the only time that we realize that they're undocumented humans is after they commit a crime or they commit something that requires us to verify that they're supposed to be here, right? And that's what I'm saying. When we verify that they're undocumented, they need to be deported. So that's all that my story was all about.
It
So
just, it made it sound like you're saying there's some kind of crisis with all of these undocumented immigrants committing all of these crimes, and I don't see that happening. The data
you're right.
does not demonstrate that.
You're
Okay,
correct.
okay. So then,
Then you interpreted my story incorrectly.
but do you
Because
understand
I
how
never
people
said that.
could interpret your, like, if we're talking about responsible platforming here, like if you want to talk about, okay, I was hit by some guy, like he ran a red light, right? That was his crime. His crime was not like necessarily just being here as an undocumented immigrant. Like why specifically that narrative? Because you didn't just talk about that car crash. You also brought up your sister.
Yeah.
You also brought up the housemate that you lived with who was undocumented. Like you
These are all
piled all
true,
of this
yeah.
into
All-
one video.
all true.
They're all true. I'm not saying you're not true. I'm saying you piled all of this into one video for what?
For the purpose of sharing 3 stories of where I have been victim of undocumented humans in my life. And
Okay.
nobody else can share that experience but me. And no, I never used the word crisis. I just shared my experience of 3 undocumented humans over a period of about a decade and a half. And those 3 experiences over a decade and a half were really negative.
Okay. Let's see.
I mean, I appreciate these. I appreciate these conversations. What I enjoy about these conversations, my friend, is the fact that we can look at the same issue from completely different worldviews, mental models, ideas, ideologies, and that's refreshing. It's refreshing to know that people distinctly can see things differently, the same narrative, the same story. So it's fascinating how we humans are so variable in the way that we're created and the experiences that kind of are the amalgam of who we are. because we can completely disagree about something that, in many cases, is relatively black and white.
I want to talk about this tweet you made about Elon Musk throwing the Sig Heil.
Yeah.
This guy memes and trolls his way to the top. What a great show. Do you
Yeah,
think
it's a great show.
Do you think
It's a great show.
that throwing a Sig Heil is a meme? Like one of the leading, the richest man in the country,
It's
on a national stage at the what is it called? The presidential. I can't think of the word for it.
Yeah,
it seems pretty.
I'm with you. I'm not celebrating that it's a good thing. Like, nowhere in that tweet did I say it's a good thing. I said it's a good show. Man, he knows.
It's a great show. You said he memes and trolls his way to.
Yeah.
You're spreading it as though it's a positive thing, is what you're saying.
No.
But you didn't say that it's bad, right? You're not saying that.
No, I'm not saying either. It's a great show. Like, he's so good, brother. Like, let me explain. Like, this guy is so meta. And that's I'm far abstracted from the visuals here. Like, far abstracted from the mainstream narrative, brother. Like, he knows 3 things. Number 1, for him to do a Sig Heil, like, he knows that that's going to be the biggest news item. So, like, kudos. That's going to be all around the world.
Do you understand the messaging?
No, hold. Let me finish, brother. He knows the audience. He knows it's going to be global, good or bad, right? I'm being objective here. I'm looking at it from his trying to be in his mind. So he knows the entire world's going to see it. Number 1. Number 2, that's like one of the chosen memes of creating tension and creating aggravation in the world. Like,
throwing a Sig Heil is not a meme, and there's a reason it causes aggravation. Do you know why?
Yes, I do. So please let me finish.
So why? Just explain why. Just explain why. Why does it cause aggravation? Okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to explain. He knows that is the pressure point. That is the pinprick of everybody. Come on, we're talking about it now.
Why? Explain it to me. Why is that such a harsh point for so many people? Why?
Because it's so triggering to an event.
Triggering.
That happened. Yeah, very triggering. He knows this. So
to what event?
Forget the emotions. Let me finish. I have 3 points. What do you want me to say? The Holocaust? Is that what you want me to say? What do you say? Not Hitler and Nazis? You and I are right now live talking about him. He did that. That's why it's a great show.
And that's bad, right?
I'm not.
Dude, come on, take a stance.
You keep adding a qualification to it. Let me finish my sentence.
But it's an important qualification, I feel like, because we're throwing signals, and then
we lay out the date. Let's lay out the data
inspired other people
first.
to do it.
I'm not asking for a qualification yet. I need to get to my 3rd point. Number 1, he knew the world would see it, right? You and I agree with that. The world will see it. He knew that it was.
With that.
Okay, so agree with me there. Agree with me on the 2nd point. It is one of the most egregious and aggressive movements you could make. Agreed?
Yes.
So
for good reason.
Yes, for good reason. Agree with you. And number 3, he owns a platform that allows him to get that clipped, added into memes, added into videos. Brother, when I tell you, I'm not adding good or bad to this. When I tell you it's a good show,
but why not?
He is leveraging the psychology of the masses. Is what about he's either a mad scientist, a psychopath, or an autist altogether. I don't know, but that's what I was recognizing. I was recognizing how meta he is. That he was somehow able to wrap up 3 of the most aggressive, egregious, tension-filling, argument-filling, movements of all time in one moment. Like, brother, did he not get the world's attention? Good job, Elon. If that was your goal, you got your attention, and my friends right here and now are still talking about it.
Are you not worried? Are you not worried that he's normalizing this? Like, he's normalizing, because that is, hopefully we can agree on this, the symbol salute of Nazis. Yes? Nazis, the people from World War II who killed 6 million Jews, millions more gay and
Yeah.
queer people. Like they
Yeah,
killed
we're not disagreeing on
millions.
any of this. We're not disagreeing
Okay,
on any of
so
this.
then, and those people still exist today. Disgusting people who wants to, and I'm not saying you're one of these people. I'm saying they exist who wants to, enslave or export or you have some language that would lead one to believe that you might be on that side. I'm not going to lie on that, but I'm assuming you don't want to at least kill these people, right, in large quantities, and yet that's what that salute entails. That's what that says that you are all about. You love to kill the Jews. You love to, kill gay and trans people. Like that's what that salute means. So why is that okay to do for the richest man on a national stage?
I disagree, sir. I
What do you
disagree.
mean you disagree? Disagree on which point?
It's called the Roman salute, and it's been around for thousands of years before Hitler. And by the way, if we go back to the Pledge of Allegiance, right? I'm in my mid 40s. So in the Pledge of Allegiance, they used to do this symbol, and they changed it from this symbol during the Nazi regime in the 30s and 40s because
to disassociate it.
He took to disassociate it. So then we put our hand over our hearts, but this was not a negative salute for a longer time period in multiple different species, different races, and different cultures. You can find multiple different cultures, not just the Romans, and not just obviously the Nazis, that also did this even in Asian countries. And so, I mean, I think this has been a politicized movement for sure. And we're not disagreeing here. Did Elon Musk know all of this? Of course he did, which is why he did it, brother. That's why he did it.
And I'm saying it's a bad thing that he did it.
And I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's a good thing that he did it.
But you're not saying it's a bad thing, right? You're not taking a stance, man.
I'm not going to. He said, "My heart will go out to you." Is the words that were part of that, and I can. You're asking me. Let me just ask.
He didn't say a word. He did not say a word while he threw that, dude.
I cannot. You're asking me to judge a man's intentions, brother.
I am. By the fact that he did a Sig Heil.
I'm not judging.
It's okay to judge people by their actions, man. That's okay to do.
If
he threw a Sig Heil, yes or no?
If you get hit, if you get hit by a car, then you can judge them by your actions. If a man makes I just did it a couple of times here. If someone clipped me, they could clip me and say that I'm doing it, brother. Come on,
that wasn't a clip, man. There was no context that made that. He did it twice. Slapped his chest, threw the Sig Heil. Exactly like Hitler did it.
I've slapped my chest and been like, "Hey, man, what's up?" Like, "Hey, brother, have you never done that? Hey, brother."
On a national stage.
I mean, come on. He was jumping around before that.
Dude,
like, he was getting hyped.
You said it yourself. He knew what he was doing. No, you're bullshitting
Yeah, of course.
You said yourself he knew what he was doing. Okay, great. So we've established that he knew he was throwing a Sig Heil.
Yeah.
So why is that not bad? Don't you feel like that's normalizing Nazi behavior? Yes or no?
I do not. No, you and I would disagree on this. I don't think.
So many people follow and look up to Elon Musk. Do you not? And they already started doing it. Like there's TikToks now of people doing it.
I'm
Facebook
not going
videos.
to hold them. I'm not going to cast judgment on people that I've.
This is how it starts, though. You normalize these actions.
None of my friends who love Elon Musk do that, brother. Like I don't even like Elon, right? Like I don't like the man. So let's get that out of the way. I think he's a terrible human being. Right, so maybe we should have started with base of the base. Like, I do not respect his lifestyle.
But if you think then why are you defending him on this, man? Because you are. Like, just say it how it is. He threw a Nazi salute. Just say it how it is. Come on, meet me halfway here.
It's called a Roman salute.
You can call it whatever you want. The Nazi. Okay, what if he went up there wearing a swastika? Would that be more clear?
Yes, I wish. He
did.
Why? Because that's obvious. But here's the thing:
exactly.
If he had a swastika, I would actually disagree with that stronger, because the swastika has been around for even longer than the Sig Heil. In Egyptian times, in Asian times, in China, Korea, Japan. It's even been in Australia. It's all over Europe. So like the swastika was completely politicized. Like it's Native Americans. You can find that Native Americans had the swastika back in the day. The Aztecs had that shit.
And its current iteration means death to Jews and queer people and others.
I
Anybody
think
who's not
I
the
think
Aryan
we
race, right?
I think it's time to I think it's probably time for someone to co-opt that to like a positive symbol. You know what I'm saying?
Eventually, that may happen at some point in the course
That
of
should
human
really
history.
happen.
Right
I think that
now,
should
a
happen.
swastika means death to anybody who is not of the Aryan race. That's what that means. Yes or no?
I'm not a scholar in it, but I know that the Nazis used it. So
It doesn't take a scholar to figure this one out, man.
Well, I don't like to. Well,
You
I'll
don't
agree with
like
you
to
that the
do
Nazis used
anything.
it.
You don't like to take a position on anything.
Well, you're
Is what
trying
I'm
to make.
figuring out.
You're trying to ask me. You're trying to ask me to judge the intents of man, which is not possible, right? Like you're asking me to make a judgment
Judge
call
him on his
a man's
actions.
salute.
Yes.
If the man shot me or hit me with his car, I would judge him on his actions. But if he put up, you're asking me, look, my tweet, I still stand by my tweet. Like the man's a genius, psychopath or genius. Like, okay, like remember, I don't like the man, right? Psychopath or genius.
could
Like
argue
he
about
did,
that,
he
but-
did something. He did something that caught the world. Like, brother, marketing 101. He crushed it, man. He got everybody's attention, and we're still arguing about it today.
He was already
mean,
up
like-
there. He could have gotten everybody's attention in any way that he wanted. He chose a Nazi salute. And you can call it whatever you want, but the Nazis used it over and over and over, and that's what it's associated with. You can call it the Roman salute. I don't even know the historical accuracy of that, but it's a Nazi salute. It's a Nazi salute.
It is. I will amend to your statement and say it is also a Nazi salute. Yes, I agree.
Okay.
But it is not.
Okay, he
only
did a Nazi salute, yes? And
He
that was
did
bad.
he did a movement that certainly emulated a Nazi salute. But can I judge his intentions that was behind it? No.
I don't care about his tensions.
But you're asking me to judge him based on his intentions, though.
Yes, because he has a responsibility.
I'm confused now.
Just like I do. I have a responsibility as on a much smaller scale, granted.
So if I go like this, if I go say, hey man, my heart goes out to you like this. If I do that, would you take offense?
You just did a sig hail, man.
If I said, I told you, if I go like this, pat my and I say,
He didn't say my heart goes out to you. So let's erase that. If you just do the sig hail and give no context for it, that's bad.
Did you? He did it once out to the crowd.
He did it
and
twice.
Then he turned around and then he did it to the crowd behind him, and then he turned around and he said, "My heart will go out to you." Like that's the full clip.
You don't just get to make up the meaning of things on the spot. That is a salute associated with a genocidal group of people from history. There's no getting away from that. So
it was used by
you're not
a
saying it's good.
group
You're
in
not saying
history.
it's bad. Yes, it
I don't
was
think
emblematic
what he did
of
was
that.
bad. I don't think like if you take the full
not?
context. Have you ever been that excited? Like I don't think I've ever been that
There's nothing-
excited.
Okay,
But I'll tell you, if I ever get that excited, I might move my arms in really funny ways.
but you're
Like,
defending
honestly.
him. Why are you
I'm not
defending him?
defending
Why?
him. I'm
Yes,
saying
you are.
when
You're defending him
he's
as we
super
speak.
excited. Like you have screen share. Why don't you bring up the clip? Let's watch it together.
The
Let's
sig
just watch it
hail.
together. Yeah, let's just watch it together so we can see the emotion of the crowd, all the energy in the moment, him jumping up and down with 2 feet, being like, "Oh my gosh, is this what it feels like to win, guys?" Like he is so hopped up on adrenaline, maybe coke, I don't know.
How many
maybe
other
just
people have done this exact motion because of adrenaline?
I've seen Barack Obama do it. I've seen
Oh, really? Can you
Kamala
pull up that
Harris
clip?
do it. Oh yeah, I can look it up right now.
Great. Pull it up.
Do it. Yeah, let me show you, brother. No problem.
Sure.
I can find these pictures all day.
There's not pictures. I need video.
Oh man, I don't know. I need to find the video behind the picture then, because pictures are the fastest way to do it. If you just type in Barack Obama example and you type in Kamala Harris example,
Yeah, because
like,
waving to a crowd like this with your hand is not the same thing as a sig hail. Beating your chest and throwing your arm out.
Here's
flat
2 of the
palm.
first. I'm finding more for you. There's so many. There's so many, and they're from all like Newsweek and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if I these aren't hard to find. Like here's example. Yeah, let me see if I can find a video of one of these. I have to do more searching. But the point is and that we both agree that context matters, right? Context matters. And I'm giving a man that I don't necessarily respect and don't necessarily like. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for being extremely excited and jumping up and down and saying this is what it feels like to win, and just like he grabbed his chest. He didn't like pat his chest. Like we both agree with that. He like
He
grabbed his
did.
chest
He
like he's
slammed it,
doing like a fatality, like with his claw in his chest.
dude.
Like let's
It was
look
not
at
his
it.
claw.
But don't misunderstand my point. Maybe the point is he did not flat finger.
But you keep like trying to like
He grabbed his heart. He
adjust it.
grabbed his heart like I
Like,
would grab my heart if I were to like do a fatality from Mortal Kombat.
he
Right?
didn't do
That's
a
what he did.
fatality from
And
Mortal
then
Kombat,
he went out
man.
like
His
this.
hand was flat, just like the Nazis did it. Are you trying to say that he did not do a Sig Heil?
We have already established he did a movement.
Okay,
that's
okay.
very similar
Then
to
why
Sig
defend
Heil.
him? Then why
I'm not
defend
defending
him?
him. We
Okay,
should probably
then
just
stop
finish the
defending him.
conversation there. Yeah,
Dude, you're literally
we both agreed
defending
on
him.
that.
Okay, let's just.
I would defend you, even though we just met. I would defend you if someone took a clip out of context. I'd be like, hey, no, I talked with this guy. Like we talked respectfully. Like he wouldn't be a Nazi, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know you. Actually, I know you better than I know Elon. So the fact that I would give you the benefit of the doubt, for someone I don't even know, I think
Well, I also
that
don't
means
go
something.
around to white supremacist accounts and be like, you have a point, like Elon does. So, I would hope people give me the benefit
I
of
don't
the
know
doubt.
about that. I don't know what he does. He's got so many accounts. Dude, he says that he plays like video games. Like there's no way he's playing video games. Those are someone else doing it. He doesn't have time for that shit, does he?
I agree. I mean, listen, I don't understand. You say you don't like Elon. You say he's a shit person, but like, why die on this hill then?
I didn't say shit person, right? Don't.
Then what are you saying? Why don't you like him?
Because he has 13 kids from 4 different people. He's not a good example of like I'm a father, right? I have kids, right? Fathers should be with their kids, right? That's one of the number one reasons why the world is the way it is. You take my opinion, and I will die on this hill. I'll say it up front. I will die on what I'm about to say. I will die on this hill. The number one reason why the world is messed up is because our parents fucked us, right? Whether they got divorced, whether they fought at home, whether they were alcoholics, whether they beat you, whether they cursed at you, whether they never supported you, whether they never said like this is the childhood trauma of bad parents and parents who aren't engaged in loving in their children is the number one reason why as adults we have people displaying their trauma and projecting their trauma to the world and trying to. And the worst part about that, right, if you read about the deeper aesthetics of man, right, and you go into to Kant and to go into those philosophers of the dark side and integrating your shadow, right? So many humans just haven't integrated their trauma and their shadow to the realities of that's who they are. They shouldn't fight the fact that they've been beaten or abused. They need to integrate it. And so what most people do is they project that which they hate in themselves and others. And the worst part about that is for those in power, positions of power, they're trying to solve for the trauma that they're projecting onto others. And that's why there's so much suffering, brother, is so many broken families, however you slice and dice it. I'm not going to ask you any questions, but I can tell you, my friend, I am trying to right the wrongs of a broken childhood. And I am trying to raise my children better than what I was raised as. And no matter my rhetoric, no matter what I tweet, none of that matters at the end of the day. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I meet a lot of men of industry and a lot of men who think they have a lot in life. But I tell you, I meet a lot of men who fascinating that we even get into these conversations. But these men will admit to me that they don't have a good relationship with their children, or they don't have a good relationship with their family. You have planes. You have the ability to buy anything in life. You have condos wherever the world. You have the world at your fingertips. But your children despise you, sir. You have failed as human. And so it doesn't matter man's accolades. It doesn't matter what you've done in this life. It doesn't matter what you own. If your children, your own spawn, your own progeny don't even like you, then your life has completely been wasted. And so I will die on that opinion 100%, because my sole purpose in life is to make sure that I don't fuck up my kids like my parents did to me.
Are you teaching your children that there are different species of humans?
I'm teaching them to be respectful with all humans, and to love all, and to
And that they're
assume
different
nothing.
species, right?
And to assume nothing.
Assume like they're different species.
Well, we can observe behavior patterns.
You have no scientific basis for there being different species of human. I just can't get over that. Like, I don't understand the purpose of that. And if you're teaching your kids that, then you are fucking your kids up.
The purpose is to recognize differences in people.
You can recognize differences within species. Look at dog breeds.
Yeah.
They're all dogs. They're all the same species. Okay.
We should recognize the differences.
Then why call them different species?
Why not?
Because that's dehumanizing.
Now you're injecting your moral ethics into the equation. I have not injected that yet.
I don't think it's good to consider people different species. That has historically not led to good outcomes.
Perfect. You've just laid out your case.
And there's also no scientific basis for it.
I think there's stronger scientific basis for humanoids of the past interbreeding and creating different species of humans. I think there's a strong case for humans over many years that would interbreed like we're interbreeding now. Like, well, come on, we're interbreeding now. Like, so if we're interbreeding now, right, then we certainly were interbreeding many millennia ago. Like, this cannot be an inconcurrent thought, right? This is something that I think we and Mike both agree on. But
speciation.
If we're intermingling and commingling different people groups now, then we probably have been doing it for millennia. That's all I'm saying, is that there's differences between Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Australian,
but you
English,
can recognize those.
Right?
Okay, are a Dachshund and a Great Dane the same species? Yes or no?
They are. Are they the same species?
If this isn't an easy yes, if this is an easy no for you, if this is not an easy no for you, you have no leg to stand on calling different humans different species, because we are far more similar than a Dachshund and a Great Dane ever could be, genetically. This should be easy for you.
No. The issue is can different species interbreed?
Okay, now it's nuanced. Now that we're talking about dog breeds, it's nuanced.
Different. If there are different species of dog and they can interbreed, then they are viable.
Are there different species of dogs?
Yes, there has to be.
There has to be.
Yes, there's not one species of dog.
So, all right, Dachshund. All right, there are different species of canines. I'm talking about house dogs. That's a specific species. Is a Dachshund the same species as a Great Dane? Yes or no?
So
if you ask a scientist, they'll say yes.
I'm just looking it up so that we're both on the same page. It says here.
You're more than happy to look it up for dogs. Why not for humans? Because no scientist anywhere will ever tell you that an Indian person, for instance, is a different species from a German person like myself.
Well, then I'm gonna have to give you a couple of scientists that actually do that, and then
a couple or the consensus.
The consensus is not science, brother. Consensus becomes scientism.
Scientific consensus and peer-reviewed research is the foundation upon which we build science and scientific innovation.
65 to 85% of all scientific research today is not replicable, not duplicatable, and not verifiable, and it's all being pulled back. You can look up studies on that right now. It's one of the biggest problems in the last 10 years of science, is that the majority, 65 to 85% of all of the studies over the last 20 years are falsified, and not real. And so you can look this up. Just look it up right now. You can see it's one of the biggest crises in science right now. And so the whole idea of scientific consensus is a farce. The entire purpose of science is to never have consensus. Wait, hold on. The whole entire purpose of science is not to have consensus, because then it's not science.
Is there a scientific consensus that gravity is a force of nature that exists?
No, there's not a consensus, because gravity is called the theory of gravity, not
Yes, there is. No,
not the fact
so
of gravity.
I gotta stop you.
It's called the
I have
theory of
my
gravity.
undergraduate degree in biology. I am currently pursuing my psychiatric nurse practitioner license. I can tell you and I don't even need that to tell you this, by the way. A theory in science is the highest level of evidence, or this is not the proper way to state it. It's the highest proof that you can possibly provide. The theory of gravity is not just a theory because, oh, well, we think there's gravity. There is gravity. It is a natural force that acts upon us. We don't know the mechanism per se by which it acts. We're still figuring that out. But
That's
there
why
is
it's called
gravity.
theory. So it's not a fact.
No, that's
It's
not
a
why it's
theory.
called a theory. It is a fact. Gravity is a
Okay,
fact. A theory in
right,
science might as well be a fact.
All right. Well, you started it. So you had your undergrad in biology. That's excellent.
Yes.
And you're pursuing a master's in what?
I have my master's in science of nursing, and I'm pursuing my psychiatric nurse practitioner license.
Awesome. So I have an undergraduate in engineering. I have a master's in counseling and organizational behavior. I have a second graduate degree in education and cognitive learning theory. And my third graduate degree is a graduate degree in religion and a focus on apologetics and world religions. I'm 65% through my PhD in psychology and cognitive studies. So if you want to start going on the whole because I'm studied and I'm, brother, don't go there, brother. I've written more papers and more books. I'm a published author. You can look that up right now. John Wiley & Sons, 2012, the biggest business publisher in the world. Amazon top 100. Google it now. You can find it. So like when you start bringing out the hey, I'm scientific, like I haven't brought that out because man, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. None of your education, none of that matters. I'm in my mid 40s, brother.
I feel like that gives me a
matter.
little credibility here. I'm
Well,
not
more
trying
than
to
me.
appeal to authority.
Well, you just tried to, and so I'm shoving it back down your throat.
But I'm
brother.
telling you
That's what
where
I'm
this
saying.
knowledge comes from. I've studied
I'm
stuff
telling
like
you
this.
that I'm
So when I tell
probably,
you,
I think I'm probably 15, 20
dude,
years older than you, and I have more
gravity exists.
graduate degrees than you.
We can agree that gravity exists, right?
I agree that there is a force that they have called the theory of gravity that is the best explanation right now for what is happening when it comes to density, mass, and volume.
And there's a scientific consensus on that, yes?
No, there is not actually. There is not. So your argument shouldn't be towards a scientific consensus. Your argument should be why isn't there scientific consensus? That we should be researching the bleeding edges of science, not continuing to steelman the current consensus. The current consensus is what gets us into scientism. It gets us into a religion of science. And then you have people like, Fauci, who created like a scientific religion that did not enable us to question the realities of that. This is that we were attacked by clearly a lab, a human created thing that we all agree on. It was human created. And so when you have scientific appeal to authority, which you just brought up, and you have people that are saying, "Hey, he knows everything. We can't question it." Science is all about questioning.
This isn't about. Feel free to question gravity. Run your own experiments to disprove that gravity is a force that exists in nature. Feel free. You will fail, because again, gravity is a fact of nature, as demonstrated by the gravitational theory. There's equations for it. Yeah, we can measure it. It's a natural force that exists. That is not contested by. There might be like 2 scientists in the world that can test that ever.
I think your worldview is a little bit closed, brother. I think there's
no, I don't think so, because sometimes you do just need to accept things as fact, like the fact that the Earth is round.
No, you cannot.
Yes.
Dude,
You have to. You have to, man. You have to. You can't.
No, you can't.
Your brain is so open that it is spilling out of your ears. You cannot just go with maybe the Earth's flat.
How can you say that when I build race cars? How can you say that when I build race cars? You cannot operate the way that you just espoused to me for someone who literally just got back from the racetrack yesterday, who builds race cars built on real physics.
Is the Earth flat?
So, I mean, sure. Why
sure.
Not?
Yes.
Why not?
Okay. Prove
why
it.
Not? Why
Demonstrate
it. Be?
Show me your evidence that the Earth's flat. What do you mean, why couldn't it be? Because it's not, dumbass. It's not. The Earth's round. All of our evidence demonstrates that the Earth is round. If you cannot comprehend that all the evidence that we have right now is that the earth is round and accept that as fact, then why are we even fucking talking? What stances do you stand by? You have no actual positions on anything. Everything's just, well, you know, Elon was doing this because, you know, he was trying to meme, and it wasn't bad, but like it wasn't good either, bro. And like, you know, gravity might exist, but like it's just a theory. Like, what do you actually believe, man? What is an undeniable fact to you? Anything?
Well, an undeniable fact is I haven't cursed at you yet, and I haven't.
I
called
don't
you
give a shit.
Any mean words yet, so I try not to be rude.
Thank you for protecting my precious feelings. I don't give a shit about yours.
Okay,
I don't care.
I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great retrospective about this with your audience. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I don't like being shouted
at. Get fucked. Good night. Jesus Christ. That was insufferable. I think I proved my point. I let him babble way too long, by the way. How can anybody listen to any fucking thing he has to say? He can't even say the Earth's round. I don't know. What? What? Yes, the Earth's fucking round. Different species of humans. You know what? Maybe he was right about that part. Maybe his brain isn't fully developed like the rest of ours. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.